Good evening, hello. A very, very cold classroom. Thankfully, I was here at 4 o'clock today, so I got the heater on when I got in. Because obviously, I only did my demo here yesterday on Saturday morning, and I was on the shop floor for most of the day, so there was no heating on Saturday or Sunday in this room. And because it's a single brick Victorian building, it just goes cold straight away.
But that's the trouble with our house, nearly 90 years old. It's single brick upstairs, so that's why the damp, the
I know.
condensation,
Yeah.
all the wet.
I know, it's horrible. It is horrid weather. But my central heating is only set to 13 degrees.
Right.
And it is clicking in every morning now because it must be really cold in my house. Oh, let's put the bird song on.
I love going to visit my sister because it's so cosy in her flat. Isn't that? I love going to visit my sister, full stop.
Yes, that's what you should be saying.
The bonus is
I've just gone to log in, and it's they've done updates and things, so it's quite frustrating, and it won't let me access. Oh, there we go. I've had to sign in, and they've had to email me a code, and it's crazy. Hiya, Rosemary. That's all right. Don't worry. We're not going to do it the background as blue, because I think that it's just we'll keep a lot of it as white paper. But Saturday's demo, I did a really big pen and wash of the Horseshoe Mountains of Snowdonia on an A3 as a panoramic.
oh, look at that. Ooh,
That looks quite nice.
as well.
Yeah. Because it's only a 45-minute demo, but I thought if I did it on A4, it'd be so small nobody could see it on the camera, so I did it on A3. Half. Well, absolutely. You got to get them all in. You can't do the Horseshoe Mountains and only have a couple. Oh, and you've seen, Janice, that they're now pushing. They've now made it law that Snowdon is now only to be known as Urwyddfa, its original Welsh name.
Really? No, I didn't see that.
And Snowdonia, the national park, is Eryri. It is everything's being changed back into its native language,
Okay.
which I think is only right.
That's good. You just need to know how to pronounce it when
Yes.
you go and visit, I think.
Urwyddfa.
So, yeah.
Urwyddfa. So yeah, all the signage is soon, all the publications that say Snowdon will now be changed to Urwyddfa.
Well, that's good to know, because you don't want to get lost trying to find Snowdon. And
Yes, because it won't say Snowdon
no,
anymore.
That's what I mean. It's be saying, where are the signs
Yeah.
for Snowdon? I was supposed to have a circle dance holiday in Snowdon in 2020.
Oh.
It was it's a fabulous place. Got their own grow their own veg and by the river and the mountains at the back. And first it was postponed and then it had to be cancelled altogether, which is a shame. But it's lovely. Trigonos or something like that it's called.
Okay, lovely.
But in the national park.
Yeah, nice.
Never mind.
Never mind.
We can go
Another day. Another day.
Yeah.
But I do like it when they start putting things into their native names, because like Ayers Rock has been for a while, hasn't it?
Yes.
I've forgotten what it is. What is
No,
it?
I've forgotten too, but you're right, it is. Proper Aboriginal name.
Yeah. Oh, for goodness sake, Rosemary, you'll know. I'll have to Google it because it'll annoy me. Uluru. So yeah, Arwydfa.
Hopefully they'll celebrate more of the Aboriginal stuff.
Yes, I think so.
Their stories of the Dreamtime and that.
Yeah, it is. Oh well, don't worry. She wasn't listening. I found it anyway, so don't worry. we were saying what's the proper name of Ayers Rock now, and I found it. It's Uluru. Yes, Uluru. She's done it. Yeah, she found it. Yeah, that's literally come into legislation because it's been talked about for years about Snowdon, but I think in the last month or two it's really gone for it. There's not much background to draw, is there?
No.
There ain't much to colour either. It's printed up a lot darker than I thought it would. I lightened it a lot because the photocopier darkens everything.
Right.
Welsh is a somewhat harder word than Snowdon, you're right. Arwydfa. In Eryri. But a lot of the other mountains are known by their Welsh names. I like Trevan and, all of the other places. So it's funny how that one hasn't been. Yeah, we won't need much, maybe any cadmium red, but I wasn't sure about his gingery nose, you see. Ultramarine yellow ochre, burnt sienna, cadmium red and Payne's grey. Because I don't think that they're pure white, are they? So.
You wouldn't imagine they are, would you? I don't know.
Yes, Cadair Idris.
When you and Chris went up, it wasn't really misty, wasn't it? But when we went up, it was
gorgeous. That's the trouble, you can't always tell what it's like when you're up there. It's the same as when I was 15 and I climbed Arwydfa. Couldn't see up the top.
No, the day we went up, you couldn't. It was that cold, damp mist.
Yeah.
Ben Nevis wasn't so bad, was it?
No.
Because once you got to the top, you were above the clouds anyway.
Ah, that's interesting, isn't it? Well, it's kind of, because they're like white edged, aren't they? White edged, the ears. Yeah. Yeah, I think he's got them turned back a little bit so he can hear what's going on.
Oh, that way, yeah.
Mm.
Of course, picking up the sounds.
Because it looks like he's just emerged out of his hole. Oh, he's knocking at the door. Delivery.
Oh, crikey. They do come quite late, don't they?
Everything's coming. Yeah. I think Amazon works till like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult. The odd occasion that I've had to buy something on there for the business, you can't get them to understand that because you're a business and you have a business account, you work business hours. And the amount of messages I'll get saying, oh, you weren't in, so it was dropped off at... Well, of course I wasn't in, because I don't live here. It might feel like it at times. Rosemary's doesn't look like any rabbit she's ever seen. Well, you could always give him a waistcoat and a pocket watch.
Oh, no. I keep seeing bits of me. That might be important, that bit.
It's just the shape of his... It's really weird, the gingery bit on his nose, isn't it? Because it makes it look like he's got a nose like one of the Muppets or something.
Yes, I was thinking when I took the picture of it, looked a bit.
Yeah, yesterday was my last day off until Christmas Day.
Oh my goodness.
I'm doing either every day. I'm doing every day or parts of a day, or several evenings as well a week now for the next 3 weeks.
You will be glad to have Christmas off.
I will. No, you're not sticking a big bush in front of him, Rosemary. It's winter anyway. You'll see through it. So I normally don't get my tree up until next week. It's usually up the weekend around my birthday. But it's the only time I could go and put it up. I went straight after work on Saturday because we shut at 4. I went to the garden centre and picked him an evergreen bush. No. No.
Christmas tree.
A Christmas tree, that's it. You could be putting the baubles on it.
So you've got your
So the tree's up. But I think because we haven't even had a frost, it doesn't feel like it should be
No.
Christmas yet.
No, it's been so wet, hasn't it? I mean, it often is damp at Christmas, but
Yeah, but you'd expect by December to have had at least a couple of times to scrape the car, and it's just bizarre.
I think Liz had to the other morning, didn't she? But she was on a early shift.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not normally in the car till 10 to 8, and usually by then it looks like it might have been at one point at 6 in the morning or something. But yeah, I mean, I'm not looking forward to scraping the car, but it does make you feel a little bit more seasonal.
Yes, yeah.
It's a seasonal frustration. If you stick baubles on it, Rosemary, I'll let you do it. Go on then. Are you drawn?
Yes, I am.
Drawnish. Bill, you're drawn. It's going to be a lot of dry, brushy bits, really. Is that what you're anticipating? Because she said she's not. Rosemary wasn't looking forward to this one, and it's possibly because of the dry brushiness of it. Sad that you can't see his eyes, can you? No. I would imagine they're browny black. Let's see if I can. Let me just shrink this screen a little bit and see if I can find. No, you can't even see it up close, can you? Let's see if I can enlarge this even more. Probably a better way of doing this. Oh, they're brown.
Very big eyes, aren't they?
They're huge, so they're very dark nut brown.
That gives you a good impression of the other colours on him as well.
Yeah.
His ears and
It
everything.
is quite a ginger, isn't he, that nose? Well, above his nose. Oh, she's already passing the book. I picked the picture, so it's all on me, apparently. It's called diffusion of responsibility, Rosemary. Right, I'll do his eyes then, but I'll go with burnt sienna and a bit of Payne's grey. We'll go a nice dark brown.
You've got Payne's grey there.
Yep.
Otherwise I'll mix the black and the white, but it never looks the same. Thank you.
We'll put some pupils in later when that's dry. I might use this for a little bit of his nose just here. Just fade that a little bit. We've only got 2 weeks of classes left, haven't we now?
Yeah.
After this one. I think Tuesday the 20th is my last class. Yeah.
So, working that out. So I'll still get another one, won't I? Even though I've missed.
Yeah, you'll have the 19th. If you're missing the 12th, you'll have one on the
Oh,
19th. So there's still one more class for you. I think Amanda's coming to tomorrow's acrylic class, so I don't know if she could survive doing 2 lessons in a row. Yeah, just the tip, and I've just faded the top of it up a little bit because it's going to be a bit more gingery. have to put a poster up about what our Christmas hours are then, since we're now not going to open between Christmas and New Year. I'll listen to everybody. We don't normally, but it depends when Christmas and New Year land. I think it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's no hot, because Christmas Day's on Sunday and Boxing Day's Monday, so then there's another bank holiday in lieu of Christmas Day on the Tuesday. So it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday's New Year's Eve. So normally I would open if it's 4 or 5 days in a row, but the customers have spoken. I wasn't sure, and I said to Kathy, I really don't know if I want. I just want to. I feel like I need a break, but then all I'd be doing is just sitting. But maybe that's what I need to do sometimes.
I'll go for a walk, or if it's nice, if it gets frosty and blue skies.
Yeah, I'll often go out and take photos for the rest of the classes then.
Yeah. No, I think because this wet weather doesn't encourage you, does it, to go out?
No, I mean yesterday I did just hang around the house with the wood burner on, just to try and dry my clothes on the air, you know, because I didn't want to use a tumble dryer. So yeah, I got it up in the living room and I just kept throwing the logs in. Right, now I'm going to cheat a little bit with his eyes, so I'll put a little bit of black or Payne's grey in as a pupil. It probably won't show up, but there's every chance I might lift out very lightly the underneath of his eye. That'll do. I just wanted to get a little bit of light, and I know there's not a lot of light in the eye, but I think it needs something. And we can work on his dirty creamy grey body, can't we then? I think that'll work quite nicely. And I think I'm going to do that with yellow ochre and a little bit of Payne's grey with my number 4 round brush. I'm going to use, I think, and it's very light. I mean, the thing is, we've got to remember that watercolour will dry lighter, but well, that's quite nice with just a touch of Payne's grey in, and then I'll add water to it to lighten it. Throw my brush across the room. Where's it gone now? How can it have disappeared? The same colour as the carpet, and it's dark down here. Right, I'd thrown my yellow ochre and Payne's grey, and then I'm just going to come down his body, dry brush, so it's very hit and miss. Shortish strokes. Try to follow. Might do a bit on his face as well. Oh, can you lift him out? I might give him a good old cover with this cream. Oh, too much Payne's grey if you've got green. It's a lot of yellow ochre and just a pinhead of Payne's grey. We've used this colour before for painting teeth. So Payne's grey is just negligible. It just dulls it down a little bit. It's not too. You could stick a bit of burnt sienna in if you're going very green, Rosemary. That might offset it a little. Oh, there's something I stumbled upon. So for those of you who are okay with tech and can download apps and that have an Amazon account, they have an app called Freevee, Frevee, and it's an app of films and programs that are all free. They just run adverts on them occasionally. Some of them are old, some of them are new. I watched 2 films on it yesterday to see what it was like, and you only have like an advert at the beginning, an advert halfway through, and an advert at the end. Freevee. You do have to go to the bit that talks about British films and programmes, because everything else is in, you've got lots of other countries, so if you Scandinavian or Norwegian isn't too hot, then you'll struggle with some of them. But it's maybe more water with it, Rosemary. Should drink it again. We're going to be dark, so this is sort of like the lightest tone on there, and we can darken it with some more Payne's grey and a bit of burnt sienna. I want to concentrate on the hair rather than the background this time, because I don't want to spend ages faffing about with a snowy background if we can not need it. So there's my yellow ochre. I'll go in with my Payne's grey. Bit of burnt sienna and a bit more Payne's grey. So it's like a dirty, sludgy, browny grey, really. Dry my brush. I think we've got a full acrylic class tomorrow afternoon, which is unusual. I think I'm going to try and zoom in on him. That might be a bit better for you. Ooh. He looks green on the screen now, but he's not green. I promise. I'm trying to do his cheek. I'm doing it more as a soft dab for his face because it's a little bit shorter. So it's the same colours but with a little bit more Payne's grey and some burnt sienna. So it's darker. You've got to give him some eyeliner and all sorts, so this is just building up layers. I suppose his inner ears a bit like that because they're not pink, are they, the inside of his ears? No. A browny colour. It's funny because Saturday was Small Business Saturday and we had 10% off everything all day. It was our quietest Saturday we've had this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. That's annoying.
Yeah. I thought it might have been busy, but never mind. Just roughing the edge up with a thin brush to do some actual hair lines. Trying to do everything while I've got the colour on the brush, it just makes sense. But you can add a bit more Payne's grey and a bit more burnt sienna just so it's a little bit darker. They look really fluffy, but I bet they've got to be quite wiry, haven't they? Woolly, perhaps, is a better word. Woolly. Had I actually, even though I'm shut today, I've had a customer in because a lady phoned last week or the week before saying that with work and kids she actually can't get into town normal hours. And I said, well, that's okay because I'm here on a Monday from about 5 o'clock. So as long as I'm here and you know what you want, you can come in and have free reign of the shop for, you know, to make your purchase. So she phoned up and said, I'm on my way.
That was nice. Just have a browse through the shop and then
Yeah, I mean, she bought a few things, which is good, but well, it seems daft me refusing to serve somebody just because I don't normally open on a Monday. If I'm here, I might as well. I could spend hours doing individual hair strokes. Suppose I ought to do some on his legs because I've lost where they are. And they're hard enough to spot anyway. I mean, if you've got a comb or a rake brush, you might find it easy to use them. I struggle with those brushes. I can never get the right amount of paint to get it to flow every single time I want it to. But they are good. I might go with a little bit more Payne's Grey in my mix. Yeah, good old Ebenezer upstairs has been getting a lot of love and attention from people. I've been toying with the idea of how much, if I bother to follow the story on Christmas Eve, do I change the bar humbug into something else? So he changes his mind, doesn't he? So, do I do that or not? It'll depend how busy I am on Christmas Eve, or the day before, I suppose. See, what's tricky with this old thing is that he hasn't really got much differentiation between where his face and neck start. There's not like a lot of shading, and I feel I'll cheat if I do too much, but he does need something. Now, I was pleasantly surprised when I went to choose my Christmas tree that the prices seem to be the same as last year and the year before. They haven't put prices up.
Where did you go?
Barn Farm Plants in Wardington, because that's just round the corner from me. Because I was thinking I'm going to have to get, because I only got a really small wreath for the door this year. I normally get a really one made for me to match my garland, which I haven't gone for because the garland's like 90 quid normally, and I can't justify it when there's hardly any money, and I'd rather have food.
Yes.
So I haven't gone for the garland, and I went for a little wreath from Adam's Plants. He does one with berries, which was $8.99. It's only a small one. I took a photo of it on my door the other day. It's really, really cute. Oh. with the berries on. So I thought,
And £8.99.
yeah.
That's really good.
So I thought I'll go with that.
It's very cheerful with all the berries.
Well, that's what I thought. And I wanted. I had an idea of what I wanted, and I realised that that would never happen with having no money. So I thought, what's the next best thing that I can have? I bet your hair is going to look fantastic, Rosemary, because I know you're good at animals anyway. And tomorrow is an interesting lesson in acrylics, isn't it, for you? I know you prefer doing them in pencil, but this is sort of monochromatic, isn't it? Ooh, oh dear, lent on my phone. What was that? You know what, I'm not going to put it in my pocket. I'm going to stick it there. I can't lean on it there. There we are. So I know we haven't done his gingery bits yet, but I am slowly increasing my Payne's grey to do his ears. He has got snow on his ears as well, but I think that's going to be tricky to do, so I won't. See, I don't want to put so much colour on him that he ceases to become a snowy hare and he just becomes a normal hare in some snow.
I think that's what
put his eyeliner on. Well, that's what I was just thinking. What would I do if I do go too crazy? And I was thinking chalk. Chalk is the answer. I'm going to let that dry and then I'll talk you through his ginger nose. Because it is very ginger. I might have to put a highlight on his eye, you know. I'll see what it's like when it's all dried, but it feels weird having very non-reflective eyes. I bet it isn't splodges, Rosemary. I bet it's lovely. I think I'll do a little bit of cad red with yellow ochre for his ginger bits. Give him his Sesame Street nose. I'll put some dark over the top of some of this later, so don't worry about it too much. Yellow ochre, mainly yellow ochre. Then I'll dry brush some slightly darker tones. And I'm just going to use a dilute version of it around his brow a little bit. He's really not a happy Hare. think it's because I made his mouth too long. He's got little pursed lips. That's a bit better. It's just one of those, isn't it, that the more you look, the more shading you see, and the more... Right, I'm going to maybe add a little bit more dark in his ears, more Payne's grey, because I haven't really got much in there. It's it's a very dark brown. Got a bit of Payne's grey in there. You're here this Wednesday though, aren't you, Janet?
Yes.
I'm going to let him dry.
Which I've forgotten what we're doing.
It'll probably be something snowy, I'm thinking, because of the time of year we're in. Oh, St Mary and St Finnan Church in Scotland. It's that one with a really ornate window, embossing, and
Yeah,
it is in the snow.
I've got a picture of it now in my head.
Just need to add a little bit of fur on the edge of his, because what I'm hoping to do in a minute is rub out my pencil lines. Of the hair anyway, so I can see what it looks like. I think he looks like a hare, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I've just added a few pale Payne's grey whiskers on, but I'll probably regret that later. I've only ever seen a hare in the wild, fairly up close once. They're huge, aren't they?
I don't think I've ever seen one.
I've seen two. One, I was walking up a lane, and it was, I don't know, about 100 yards in front of me, just sitting in the lane, and then as soon as it saw me, gone, but really big. And then I saw another one. There must have been some sort of illegal hunt or something going on, and it was in the field when I was going for a walk behind my house, and it was bounding through, and I thought it was sort of like a young Labrador or something going through, and it wasn't. It was a hare,
Wow.
very brown. Hare coursing, that's what they call it, isn't it, or something? Because I could hear the dogs.
Not legal, is it anymore?
No. I've never seen why it could be seen as sport.
No.
You know, hunting for food, mate, that's a different matter, isn't it?
Yeah.
But chasing something with dogs, you know, it's not a sport for the animal, is it? Really? Because that's
block up escape holes and everything, don't they?
yeah.
So no, not fair at all. Horrible. They were campaigning for National Trust to only have the what's it called?
Dry content.
What they pardon?
Dry content.
Yeah, so they're banning all the. They were campaigning at Upton House a few years ago.
I mean, it looks cute with them all, especially like with the fox hunts, you know, with them in their jackets and
Yes,
hats just
yeah.
wandering through. But I don't know why they can't just do that.
Exactly, just have a ride.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, my dad always used to take me Boxing Day. They'd always be gathering at Horse Fair.
Yeah.
And I think it was just to get me out of the way while my mum got ready with all the visitors we used to have at Christmas. I know, I'm sure we thought but they look splendid in their red and their black
And the cream and yeah.
absolutely splendid, and they'd have their stirrup cup.
I mean, it's very traditional, isn't it? It is rural Britain. You think of.
Yeah. But as a child, I didn't realise why. They were just men on horses. And
Yeah.
that was it. Didn't realise what they were.
No, but I think they could just have a run.
Yeah. A gallop through the field.
Yeah, or even just have if they have to do something like find something, they could have a special scent on something
Yes.
and hide it for the hounds to find.
Exactly.
Why you have to rip something to pieces and ruin a lot of people's gardens and things is beyond me. I've never understood that though.
No, nor me.
A little bit.
My friend's daughter used to go on actually go to stop them.
Yes, I know of a few that have done and do. But recently one got run over by someone in a car.
It's quite dangerous actually, isn't it?
Yeah, they got run over by someone in favour of the hunt, and they just ploughed down and carried on. Hit the bonnet, they bounced off, and they just carried on going. So they don't care what life it is by the seeming of it. They just want to do what they want to do. Right, I'm not going to do any more to him. I think I'm going to go put the kettle on. Do either of you two want to drink? Or are you all right?
Yeah, well, there's one thanks.
I will make myself a hot drink. I had a big lunch today. I had a nice big cooked dinner, but for this evening I wanted something warm, so I was so cold. And I went to Tesco's and had a little porridge pot to put hot water in, so I just had a little hot porridge to warm my cockles a little bit.
That's nice. I like porridge.
I love porridge. I have it every Sunday. It's my Sunday treat is porridge. Oh, it looks all right, you know.
Stop fiddling.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? So we just painted some hair. That's gorgeous stuff. Yeah, that's really lovely. Yours looks less annoyed than mine. I need to smooth the tone down on his cheek. I'll do that when I come back. It looks like a much harder line. Soften it a little.
Oh, it's cold out here.
It's a little cold here. Very different colour. Oh yeah, that's lovely. That is lovely.
Thank you.
He's looking nice.
I see how different mine is from Bill's. Just having a look at his. But he's not a snow hare, is he? He's gone away off course here. Done too many bunny leaps. From the farmer's field to the Arctic.
Because they change colour. I'm sure I saw a country file where they were up in Scotland in the snow watching them, and they change colour over a period of weeks. I think they get their snowy coat on.
Incredible, isn't it?
You could do them a bit darker maybe as well. Like they're quite black at the base and the tips. I've just finished a pet portrait. Just in the snow.
Oh look! Wow, he's a character, isn't he?
Yeah, I think it's no longer with us. So yeah, it's like a mountaineer. It's only a little dog. I can't remember the make of them. It's the make. It's not a car. The breed.
No.
It's a breed I hadn't heard of. But I haven't varnished that yet. I might varnish that before I go home tonight. I didn't look at the temperature in the car when I got in this afternoon, but it changes as soon as the sun goes in, doesn't it? Let me see if I can see what AccuWeather is saying. Oh, it's 6 degrees, real feel 2 degrees, but goes to 3 degrees overnight, which is a lot colder. But then tomorrow night, -1. -2 Wednesday, -3 Thursday, -2 Sunday. Chilly time.
It's healthier, isn't it?
Apparently. I'll definitely be filling the hot water bottle tonight.
Those heat pads that you warm in the microwave.
Oh yes,
So when you've got aches and pains, they're brilliant for warming you up.
they are. They're good, aren't they? I've got a little one.
I've got one that's a back and then like 2 shoulders.
Oh really?
You put it on your back and then.
That's good, isn't it? Because I was singing outside during the Victorian market, and I said to Jackie, I said, "Well, what did Victorians wear jumpers? Because you never see Victorians with jumpers, but apparently they wore jumpers knitted underwear." And because I was singing outside for 3 hours, I got a long sleeve T-shirt on, then which is blue, and I got a white shirt on. So I put a white vest on top of that, then my shirt, then my waistcoat, than my jacket. I was really warm.
Yeah.
Really warm, actually. I was getting quite... When I came back inside, my hands were cold because of holding the microphone. But gosh, it was really warm, so it works. So I'll be doing that over the winter when it gets cold, because I've got thermal trousers because it's cold in my house. So I'll be putting them on once it's been too mild, and I don't want to do it too early because then you won't feel it.
Feel the benefit.
Exactly.
But layers, I think it must have been like Liberty bodices they had, didn't
Yeah.
they? Wow.
And they had the men had all the big long, all in one legs, full arms and everything, didn't they? Long underwear, wasn't it? So I think with the button up at the back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and they had was that Victorian time they used to lard themselves and like wrap? I think that was probably earlier.
A bit earlier.
Yeah, and just stay in that all winter. Lovely. But then everybody was the same, weren't they?
Didn't they sew themselves into it at sometimes?
Like
Yeah.
and with the fat there as a protective layer.
Yeah. Because it's goose fat they use when they swim in the channel, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Traps the heat in. Ugh. I don't think I'm ready to do that yet. I'm not.
I think you should clear the shops quickly.
Well, yeah, if you lean up against a heater in a building just to warm up, and then you start cooking, basted.
Chips. I love it.
Oh, I don't know why, Rosemary. The microphone's on. It is in a slightly different direction. I'll bring it back in now. I had to move it out the way earlier. Oh, there we go. We'll have to do a bit of a little bit of snow colour, I suppose. I'll give him some white whiskers. Oh, that'll be it then. It's amazing. Just a slight difference in the angle. Do. Right. I think I need to darken the tip of his ear. That on the right hand side, there's more of it than I've put on. I was being a bit stingy. A gel. Well, I did it with a bit of Payne's Grey.
Yeah.
And a thin brush just to see if I can just get it there, and then a bit of gel pen on top of them on the left hand when it crosses his face. Then we'll be doing some snowy bits. I'm just going to check the business poll to see if anybody has said to... Oh gosh, lots of no. Northwich Art Shop, who's a friend of ours from Northwich, they've said no. Oh, Rosemary, you said no. Wow, that's a lot of no's.
Oh, you should have a proper break.
Well, I suppose I must. get home, I'll do a sign for my opening hours for Christmas. So I want a snowy colour, I suppose. But do I want to add any more to the hair? I might do a little bit of a slightly darker wash under his belly a little bit. Because I'm guessing from this photo that this is sort of early evening, isn't it? Or early morning. It's got that sort of glow. But we'll make it more daytime. Oh, I'm having a nice peppermint tea. I woke up with a bit of a chesty cough yesterday morning, and I was a bit like, oh no, I'm going to come with this fluke, you know, this bug, the cold that everybody's got. And I've got some tincture that from Holland and Barrett, made from ivy leaf.
Okay.
And you put 20 drops in a glass of water, and you do it 3 to 5 times a day. By lunchtime, it had gone.
Really?
I swear by it. I've always got that in stock for the winter. It's not cheap, but it's really good for chesty coughs.
Ivy leaf.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got a very funny aniseed taste to it. And it's really, it's like a brown liquid. But yeah, for chesty coughs, it's only in a little bottle. It's probably about £10 for a little bottle, but you don't need a lot.
No, I was going to say it lasts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know what the name of it is. I can have a look. I've got a Holland and Barrett app.
I know when I trim the ivy on our trellis, once you get halfway along, you start coughing.
Oh, really?
The sap comes
Of the
out.
sap, because apparently you can make washing up liquid out of ivy leaves, because it's got saponin in it. So you've got to have like a bucket full, and you boil it up until it changes colour, I think, and then it should froth up. And you can make washing machine liquid for washing your clothes out of conkers, and ivy leaves for dishwash soap, really. But people go, oh well, ivy leaves are toxic. Well, so is fairy liquid if you're drinking it. Do you know what I mean? It's you're cleaning it and you're rinsing it off. That's the thing. See if I can find what I've had. See what it's called. I might even darken between his legs a little bit more. I must have bought it when I was in store. Bronco Force. That's what it's called. It's $10.99 for 50ml. Bronco Force Chesty Cough Ivy Complex Drops. Fresh ivy herb. It has, and thyme, and licorice root.
Oh, licorice root.
But yeah, for catarrh, chesty coughs, and all of that kind of stuff, it's very good. But you're right, Rosemary. Everything is toxic if it's abused. Absolutely. I have got a lot of ivy. I have tried to make the dish soap myself, and I've failed a few times. But I'm usually, I never think it's that's the problem. It's usually me that's the problem, because I don't read things properly. I just go gung-ho. I don't know if I've done him too bluey grey now. Stick a bit of ochre in. So I want a bit of ultramarine, because we've not used any of that yet. A bit of ultramarine, a little bit of cad red. This is our snow shadow, and a bit of Payne's grey. So ultramarine, Payne's grey, and cadmium red. Now don't forget Payne's grey already has ultramarine in it as well. So I'm going to make that quite dilute. And he's in his little hole here. And I'm going to cover the rocks in this a little bit, because I don't want it to be too bright. And then I will dry brush the rocks with a bit of brown. I think what's confusing with a picture like this as well is that there's no sky. It's just all land. So I'll do a bit of snow dry brush. Have you had your cup of tea, Rosemary? Thank you. I have got I thought I'd got a decent recipe, but it's never worked, so clearly it's not. It's not right for me. I couldn't get it to froth up enough. Soften the background ones with a bit of water. Because I have a lot of ivy growing in my garden. I've grown it deliberately for that. I bought nettle seeds over lockdown so I could grow nettles for nettle tea. And I've got lemon balm for lemon balm tea, and I dry them in the oven or I hang them over the fireplace to dry.
How does the nettle work out? Is that alright?
Really nice.
Is it?
I normally mix it with my lemon balm, so I have a nettle and lemon balm tea, which is lovely. But my neighbours think I'm a witch or something.
Sorry?
My neighbours will think I'm a witch or something. If I had a black cat, I'm sure they would.
I think it's great experimenting with all these things.
Well, it's all the old ways, isn't it? And I think we have got to go back a little bit. Because clearly, a lot of the modern stuff we're doing isn't really working, is it?
No. No, we've got to,
Can't go back to go forward, I think.
yeah, that's a good way to say it. Back to go forward.
I really need to add a bit more dark into that, right down into the hole, I think. Down here. Because I want it to feel like he's emerging. It's nearly 8:30. I can't believe that. Have to do his rocks in a minute, which I think I'll do as burnt sienna and Payne's grey, because they've got to be quite dark, although there's a coolness about them. So do I put a bit of blue in? I don't know. I'll have a think for a second. I've got an acrylic class on my birthday, so I decided to do as a portrait of me, and it's one of the fullest classes I've had.
Really?
I don't know why so many want to paint me. It's going to be from a photograph, not from life.
I was going to say, you're going to pose or...
I can't teach it if I'm posing, can I?
It'd be interesting to see what you got.
I did. I've done it a few times. At where was I? Farthingale Art Group. They all drew me once, which was quite interesting. And that was from me modelling. I just sat for an hour. It's a good way of just not doing anything. Just sit down.
Very interesting though.
I've roped Jackie in occasionally to do figures, because she can just stand still. She won't move. I get an itchy nose after 30 seconds. But she, obviously clothed, but there were a few times at Farthingale and Waddington where Jackie's just like struck a pose, and with 10 minutes she just stood still for 10 minutes. Amazing. I can't do it for 10 minutes. I think I was sitting in a chair. Right, let's get some burnt sienna on my brush and some Payne's grey. I think I am going to put a bit of ultramarine in, maybe, because I want it quite a bluey, browny grey colour. No, it's got to be dry brush, hasn't it? Put in some trunks on.
I think we've got like a little surfboard underneath him that I've just looked right now.
I'm presuming Rosemary hasn't done a bush, because she would have said, but you can never tell with Rosemary. So the thing is with dry brush, you've really got to make sure that your brushes don't all end up in exactly the same shape or pattern, because then it looks very contrived, and it's got to look like it's snow. I wonder if we'll have a bad winter this year. What do you think?
Sorry, I don't...
Do you think we'll have a bad winter this year?
People are beginning to say so, aren't they? But I don't know whether they can tell how.
I mean, which paper is it? The Daily Express has been saying we're going to have 6 feet of snow for the last 20 years.
Oh.
And they're going to be right on one of the times, aren't they, I suppose?
They used to sort of judge it on the berries, didn't they?
Yeah.
If there were lots of berries, it would be a hard winter.
I mean, there have been a lot of acorns. I've never seen so many acorns.
And beech nuts. We've been somewhere where there's loads of beech nuts as well.
Yeah, and chestnuts. Loads of chestnuts. So maybe, I don't know.
There's lots of hips and haws about.
Yeah. Because we haven't really had a hard winter for years.
Yeah, we've had a bit of snow, but it didn't sort of stay around.
No, I think the last problem we had was that we had that snow in about 2018 that was like polystyrene balls. It didn't grip. You couldn't make a snowman out of it, and it was really bad drifts. It kept drifting because it kept blowing in the wind. It wouldn't stick to each other. But I think that's been the only bad winter. I've not had issues driving in for years because I hate driving in the snow. I think one year I looked on the Banbury Cross webcam to see how bad the roads looked before I left my house, just to see if it was worth coming out or not.
It's not fun, is it? Because if you start to slide.
Well, this is it, and actually every town council car park is on a slope. Every single one. There's a slight slope or a severe slope, and I'm not very good on slopes. I mean, Jackie can walk in, and Kathy can walk in. If I walked in, it'd take me a day. Well, it's 2 hours apparently, according to Google, if I walk from my house.
Really?
Yeah. Because I nearly did that in the summer when my car was supposed to be fixed by Halfords and they ordered the wrong part, and they just phoned up to say you won't be having your car back today. And I went at 5 o'clock, 5:30, and I went, well, thanks. Well, how do I get home? I don't know, he said. I said, well, I don't live in Banbury, and you've just, I've got no way of getting in. Oh dear, he went. Thanks ever so much.
Not sounding very sympathetic.
Thanks for your help. But I started walking back. It was the night it was a Tuesday, because I was supposed to be given an art history talk in Byfield, and the organiser in Byfield actually picked me up. I'd got to the retail park at near the motorway. These rocks are too curved. I'm going to have to rough them up a little bit, I think, because they don't look natural.
It used to be a nice walk in from Middleton till they got that dual carriage lane stuff and the motorway and everything.
Yeah.
It was a nice walk in from Middleton.
Well, I looked on Google Maps, and apparently from here, if I went to the precinct and went under the canal bridge, I'd come up under Hennef Way, through Spice Ball, under Hennef Way. I'd go through the back of the retail park, and then there is still the old Chatham Road is a footpath that goes under the motorway. Yeah, and then through the fields towards Chatham, and then once I was in Chatham, I probably would go longer through Chatham and up to Wardington that way, because there's no footpath or verge on the main A361. But yeah, there is the old Chatham Road, so you can still get under, but that's why it's 2 hours, because it's not as I mean, it's 10-15 minutes by car, but because it's lots of wending and winding. Yeah, there's a little you can kind of see it on the A361 as you're heading towards the motorway. You've got the cycle path, which is the old Chatham Road, and when you look towards sort of the motorway and Marks and Spencer's, you can see a little under thing, but it must only be, it's a cycle path, so you can get through. But I was surprised, because I have thought it on the odd occasion that maybe I'd cycle in the summer, but I'd either have to go through I'd have to go through Chatham really, on the same road, because that A361 is just lethal. I wouldn't trust myself on that road that's not really that wide, because it's the A road's only really a B road that they've labelled an A road. It's not.
Is that the Daventry road?
Yeah.
It's not, no.
Well, there's no cycle path. There's no. I mean, Oxfordshire County Council are saying, oh, everybody should cycle to work today or whatever. Yeah, well, there's no way I can.
No.
And my own lane, the surface is that bad, I can't cycle even down my lane anymore beyond my house. That many potholes and broken bits of road, it's just not safe. I'm going to do some paler rocks in the distance. Just a bit of water. Because I figure if there are rocks in the front, there's going to be rocks elsewhere, and it helps to sort of set the scene. So we know that this is not sky. Oh, Rosemary says her parents used to walk in from Middleton every winter when Banbury was cut off, because before the motorway was built, Banbury would frequently be cut off for
Yeah, but it was a nice walk.
3 days.
It was really pleasant.
Yeah, I imagine it is actually quite a nice stroll.
Till they, got all the, I say they threw the carriageway and the motorway off.
Oh, now, Janet, it's awful. My journey into work in the morning is horrible because the amount of things that they're building around the motorway, like we've got warehouses now, and possibly more being built, and the retail park, and just the sheer volume of traffic. The motorway, the junction is not big enough now, because the Daventry Road bit hasn't got traffic lights to access it. You just have to go for it.
That's right.
But in a morning, you've only got to have 2 big lorries coming off the motorway, and the lights on red on the junction. Well, that you can't cross, and then you have to wait. But then you get 25 seconds between light changes, and if the lorries are slow moving, you've lost it for that turn. And sometimes you can be sitting there for 20 minutes.
Can you? I've looked at because I've got a friend who lives in Daventry.
Yeah.
I've looked at going down Southam Road and across, like through property and
Yes.
joining the Daventry Road further back.
Yes.
I mean, would that be any good to you or not? Or is that
No.
too far?
What I do, I've got 2 emergency routes. If Alexa tells me that the traffic's going to take me 15 to 20 minutes to get to work, I will go through Wardington past the church, through Chatham, and then down the dual carriageway at Middleton Cheney. That's still, that's much faster. And then my final emergency one is William Scott, Crockpuddy, Great Bolton, Hanwell,
Right.
and then down the back of the Warwick Road
Right.
in. And usually that's a lot quieter, but
How
it's
do you use Southam Road?
yeah, it's a quieter trek in the mornings, because the kids will have already gone to school at that point. That's if I stop after 8:30. If I leave after 8:30, then there's not much traffic at Crockpuddy, because I think their drop off is 8:30.
Okay.
But during lockdown it was perfect.
I bet, and that's quite a nice little run through William Scott, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, often I will have to go Wardington, Chatham, Middleton, Cheney to get to. I mean, it's crazy having to do an extra 4 miles.
Yeah.
But you can be. Sometimes the traffic is tailed back on the Daventry Road from the junction way back to the Chatham Road. I mean, that's like half a mile, 3/4 of a mile of just station traffic because you can't get across.
No, it's better to go round.
And I've sometimes I go, should I just stick with it, or should I just keep moving?
It's nicer to keep moving, isn't it? Because you feel you're getting there.
Yeah, even though it takes a lot longer. But there have been times when I've been on that Daventry Road junction, and the traffic is just on the motorway junction just solid. I've just turned left, gone up the dual carriageway, gone round the roundabout, and back down the dual carriageway, and I've still crossed quicker because it's just honestly, and people use the wrong lanes to get across, or then they're swapping and doing all of this because they're desperate to get somewhere faster. It's not a pleasant journey in. I had hoped that when they were doing all of that work on there, they'd have tweaked the lights to give us a bit more of a chance, or put some lights on. But it's kind of irrelevant if you can't get across. You can't get across.
No, if the traffic's too heavy.
It should be a 4-lane junction, I think, really, than a 3. It's not big enough. I'm not sure I can do any more to him.
I'm looking at visiting my friends in Daventry going on the bus, to be quite honest.
Oh, the 200.
Yeah, because it goes every hour, doesn't it?
It does. We've got, that's under threat though.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. We had funding for August, and I think we've now got funding until the spring. Because that's every hour.
Just a thought, because it's not a nice journey. I say that's why I was looking at Southern Road and going across
Yes.
and joining it
Yeah.
further up. If you were driving, and then I thought, well, what about the bus?
Yeah, the bus is actually dependent on people using it as well. I think the more people that do use it, we stand a chance of it being funded for a little bit longer. But it is crazy. They want us all to ditch the car, and then they keep cancelling the bus services or reducing them. Yeah.
Train journey, I checked several times what days they were going on strike.
Oh. Because the last day for posting is now the 16th of December for first class. There's no
I've got
guarantee.
on the calendar all the strike days for Royal Mail and all the strike days for the trains. Don't get caught out.
No. But then, weirdly, the post office isn't linked at all to Royal Mail now. But the town centre, I think Kathy's daughter went at 2:30, and the post office was already closed, and it's supposed to stay up until 4.
Well, our local post office is the same thing. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday they're open full day. Thursday, Friday, Saturday are shutting at 1. So I assumed it was to do with the strike. Because all it says on the door is sorry for any inconvenience.
Yeah.
It doesn't say why they're shutting.
No, but I mean, Banbury is the main post
I know.
office. And Becky was like, well, where do I go? And I said, well, Middleton Cheney's one is open till 8 p.m.
Oh, really?
Possibly.
Yeah.
But ours was supposed to be open until 4:30 or something. And I said, you wouldn't expect the main post office in
No,
town to be
no,
shut
you
at
wouldn't.
2. But Jackie, because we've got a drop and go account, so Jackie doesn't even have to queue unless it's to go abroad.
Okay.
Where you have to fill in different forms and weigh it and all of that kind of stuff. But she gets a lot of scowls in the queue because she can go with a bag full of parcels and she just waltzes past everyone, drops it down and walks off again.
I'm sure Jackie manages that okay.
She does. She loves it, especially if it's someone in the queue she knows, because she'll go, oh, hi, how are you? And then she'll just wander off after she's dropped it off. So yeah, it's actually really handy. But we had to get something posted to Shetland, because from being in on the radio the other week, someone in Shetland found us out to support us. They went on our website and ordered from us.
Wow.
You know, a decent sale as well, but it was quite big and bulky. And we went, Royal Mail strikes too iffy, so we had to do it by courier. But it cost £10 for a decent sized box to go to Shetland. No, because we don't charge for postage in the UK, but we've never had anybody outside of mainland UK order before. Yeah, we use a sort of broker's site for couriers, and you put your weight, the size, and where it's got to go, and they come up with a screen of about 10-15 options if there are, but for this Shetland one there was only 2 options.
Yeah.
But no, it's really good, and you can then choose whether they collect it for you. So they collect it and then they do everything, and you just print off your form. But I know a few businesses now that aren't using Royal Mail They're using couriers.
They will have to watch it, won't they? Because people get used to using the couriers, and if they're not too expensive
Yeah.
and very efficient, people will stay with them, won't they?
Well, yeah. I think I mean, even on a small scale, locally, when Paperway closed the first time, and then they closed my shop and brought me down here to reopen, I think they thought everybody would just fall back in and carry on shopping there. They didn't realise that they'd been shut for so many months that people had gone and found somewhere else. And once you've got that, you've lost that loyalty. It's the same as if you change your opening hours. And where I was in Church Lane, the lady that took on the cafe, sometimes she'd be open at 8, sometimes she'd be open at 11, sometimes she'd be open at 6 in the morning, sometimes she'd be shut at 2, sometimes she'd be shut at 5. Nobody knew what on earth was going on, so they never bothered going. And she said, well, I can't understand why nobody. I said, because nobody knows when you're here.
No, that's no good.
So I try to stick within 5 minutes to my opening hours, unless it's getting in and I'm stuck in traffic. But if it's been dead in the afternoon and I've seen nobody since 2 o'clock, by now it's pitch black, maybe by 20 past 5 I'm getting ready to go, and then at 25 past I'll put the catch on, because I'm invariably the last person in the building. I don't know if I want to cool the background down. No, Rosemary's saying the strikes are not helping. I can understand why they're striking, but I can't help feeling that they are facilitating the closures. No, I know. It's a very difficult one, isn't it? Because how can you make your voice heard if they're not listening? And but then similarly, the idea is to disrupt, but when there are a lot of other options. But then if they don't strike and they don't get it met, then they're still going to be unhappy, aren't they? So it's really difficult to know what to do. I mean, at some point, I think this month we've got nurses striking, potential teachers striking, trains striking, postmen striking. And I noticed that BT have been striking occasionally as well.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, when I had the engineering to fix the thing, I went. It was on a Saturday, and I said, "It's really good of you to come out." He said, "Look, this is just my normal hours." He said, "Because none of us are doing overtime at the moment, and others are striking." And when I drove past the telephone exchange, they all were on placards and things that one day. So there's a lot of strikes about, a lot of unhappy people.
The thing is, it's difficult as well because it's a difficult time. So,
It is. It is very awkward. But you see, the trouble is, I struggle as a small business owner, because I know that minimum wage is not enough to live off.
No.
Not with everything that's in price. But if next year they do as they say and they put minimum wage up to £10.50 an hour, where's that money coming from? For a big company that's making millions profits, I can see that. But for me, I've only got the same people coming in and buying.
Yeah.
And there's less of them than there were last year or the year before. So how am I? If I'd got lots of staff, I would have to reduce their hours because to give them the same pay as they were getting the year before, because there's no support. And when I'm not on minimum wage, it makes me a little bit like, ooh. But then I know that they need it, and by law I've got to do it. And I don't think people shouldn't be paid money that they can't live off. But where does it come from? Because I'm not sitting on millions of pounds of profits like some of these companies are.
Can't magic it from thin air.
No. Because I think it is £10. It's going up an extra. It normally goes up by about 50p, but it's going up by nearly £1.50.
Wow. When's that?
April. I think it's £9.50 an hour currently. But then I was thinking, when I was 17 and I've had my first job in retail, I was on £5.35 an hour. and that was in 1997. So since 1997, it's gone from £5.35 an hour to £9.50, which isn't a lot in 20 odd years.
No, it isn't.
Considering how much things have gone up since then, so it's nowhere near enough. Apparently, since the 70s, where the cost of living and inflation have like gone like that, now if it followed the same traction, in order to buy a house now compared to 1971 when it changed, you'd need to be on £36 an hour to be able to buy a house like you could for the same way of house prices to wage ratio. 36. I don't know anyone on £36 an hour.
Oh my goodness.
So that's why young people can't buy houses. I mean, it's all very well saying, oh, they should stop buying avocados and they should stop buying whatever, but you know, an avocado is not going to replace or stop watching Netflix for £6 a month. It would take 200 years if you saved £6 a month to get a house deposit now. So sadly, they feel what little luxuries they can afford, they're going to have. So if it is going to be a Starbucks every morning, they're never going to get on the property. I mean, I can't get on the property ladder ever.
It's impossible, I think.
Because you need, for me as well, being self-employed and over 40, I'd need a £40,000 to £60,000 deposit. Where am I going to get that?
They changed that, didn't they, about the over 40?
Yeah.
I remember.
Where am I going to get that from? Because the average house is now £200,000 minimum.
Minimum, yeah. I suppose it depends which part of the country you are.
Yeah, the further north. But I mean, to stay in Banbury.
Yeah, round here is just ridiculous.
I mean, even the little terraces in Queen's Road are nearly £300,000 to £500,000, and you haven't got a drive.
No.
You've got nothing. It's scary. Rosemary, what's yours looking like? I bet it's going to be good. She'll post it and it'll be really good.
It will be, yes. I think it looks a little bit less like he's surfing on the sea.
It's difficult, the background, isn't it? Because I mean, on the photograph, it is just a purpley blue, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's nothing to tell you what it is. What I might, do you know what? I know I finished, but I haven't. What I might do is just a couple of yellow ochre sprigs of possible grass or something that's just been nestled, quite pale. The background and rocks are okay, but the rabbit is rather strange. Just a few ochre tussocks. Now it feels like he's in the ground. I can cope with that now. So next week is snowy mountains and trees at sunset in Gouache. Let's see, where's my phone? Let's see, and you're missing that, Janet.
I am, yeah.
Where are we? Not many weeks left. So that means by March I've got to have next year's July to December classes out. Ooh. Where am I? 2022. We might do it on dark paper, grey paper perhaps. Just checking that that's the one. No. What did I say it was? Snowy mountains and trees at sunset. Oh, Scotland. Ooh, that's next week in Gouache. A nice glow. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? I'm a bit iffy about the shape of the mountain because it looks too much like Egypt, I think, if we go wrong. snow on Egypt, but I just thought how lovely that is, and I love the little foreground with the shadows right at the front in the rocks,
Oh yeah.
and the way it's just lit tight. Oh yeah, that's nice. And then the last one will be on the 19th of December, and that's a snowy walk in the park. And this is watercolour pencil. I've not quite thought that through because I don't know how it'll be done, but this is it. So this is the last one. Just it's basically going to be black and brown watercolour pencil. I'm ignoring the van. We'll ignore the van.
I like the lamp.
Yeah, well, that's what drew me to it, you see. So nice snowy trees on the 19th. So there we are. I will take a photograph of this and post it in the group. So thank you very much for your company this evening. We're thin on the ground today, but that's fine. But can you see why I didn't choose a picture of a snowy hare with a full background? Because we'd have never finished, would we? Really,
No.
if there was more of a complicated snowy background.
That's very true. Because you think, looking at it, that there isn't a lot.
There isn't a lot, but the hare itself took us an hour. Yes, tomorrow is another Elizabeth Tower thing in the snow. It's a lovely one, though. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.